there's more in the news on this front, and it was a great post by this woman who was going to the Gold's Gym in California. Her name is Tish Hyman. She says she's a lesbian. She, so she's not anti-LGBTQ. That's her point. But she went to the Gold's Gym in Los Angeles over the weekend. I think this was the video posted yesterday, and she got kicked out because she objected to a man. I would say posing as a woman, but I mean just barely. He's making very little effort at the gym, using the women's locker room and bathroom, and she was naked, and he was in there staring at her. And they asked her to leave when she complained. Here's first, here she is in the Gold's Gym getting kicked out and complaining. I think that's shot one. Tish Hyman.
Gold's Gym! Men! Grown men with big dicks in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know. The fuck? Everybody saw that man in the fucking locker room. No one's saying shit. And I'm fucking done with it. It's fucking stupid. It's dangerous. Me naked in front of a man without my permission. But I ain't the one who gets kicked out the gym, y'all. I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room.
She was understandably upset. And then, I don't know if it was Tish or somebody else, but somebody filmed Tish confronting the man right outside of the women's room moments later. Watch. I think it was moments later. Or
Did you tell me or not that women like to see dick?
I'm asking you a fucking question.
Exactly. Get out of the way now. No. Now he knows how to be a man, right? Now he knows how to be a man. Stay out of the women's locker room. We don't want it. He needs to have his gym membership revoked for that shit. And the woman told you. He assaulted me. The girl told already. We already filed reports. No.
That's fine. I want the video.
You can't get rid of me for this. I'm a woman, and I have every right to not want a man in the restroom when I'm naked. There are girls naked in there. Look at them walking in there like it's okay. It's not okay.
I understand.
Matt, the reason this is happening is because the state law requires it. Much as I'd love to blame Gold's Gym, Gavin Newsom and his pals have made it state law that every facility, public or private, has to allow this. It's insane. It's deeply wrong. And the voters of California don't seem to give a damn. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I do blame Gold's Gym also, though, because, we blame the law, blame Gavin Newsom, certainly. But also, I mean, you're a business owner in that state. You're a business in that state. You can't allow this. You cannot put women in this position. Children in this position, you can't allow it, and so if I'm a business in that state, I'm just not going to allow it. And then you kind of dare the state to, what are they going to do? You're going to shut me down? Well, go ahead, let's have that fight. I know, kind of easier said than done, but there are times in life where you have to draw a line, and this is like clearly one of them. I'll also say though that the reaction from that woman is exactly correct. And this is how everybody should react. And I think if everyone had reacted that way from the very beginning, when this madness first sort of started in earnest, like 10 years ago, then it would have been shut down very quickly. Because like usually I don't agree with like making scenes in public, but there are times when that's called for. And you go into a locker room and there's a man in there, it's a women's locker room. That should be a scene. I mean, that's how a normal person reacts. This is totally unacceptable.
Yes. Completely
wrong. And I'm not going to go along with it to be polite or whatever. And that's, too many people were willing to do that for too long. That's how we ended up in this position to begin with. So I think she deserves a lot of credit for that.
Somebody posted online yesterday, not all heroes wear capes. That's how I felt too when I watched Tish come out there. She posted a follow-up, just her on cam after it all went down, and you could feel that it was somewhat traumatic. The whole thing was traumatic for her. Here's a bit of that and shot too.
I just had the worst experience ever at the gym, at Gold's Gym. Today I was naked in the locker room. I turn around and there's a man there. in boy clothes, lip gloss, standing there looking at me. I'm butt naked. So the first thing I think is maybe there's a worker in here. Maybe I missed a sign. I say the word sir to say, sir, what are you doing in here? He goes, don't fucking talk to me. I'm a woman. I have a right to be in here. Immediately, I'm fucking pissed because I'm butt naked. I feel violated. And then I talk to the people that work at Gold's Gym, and they don't really have anything to do. They just like, oh, we can file a report about it, incident report. What the fuck is going on? I'm a lesbian. I've been a lesbian my whole life. I treat people how I want to be treated regardless of whatever their sexual orientation is or whatever they decide. So I'm not transphobic and I'm not homophobic. I'm not straightphobic. I'm not racist. None of these things. Why do you guys think it's okay for men to be in the women's restroom?
You know, Matt, Gavin Newsom follows me on X, and I tweeted that out. And I tagged him, saying, help her. He won't. He has absolutely no courage on this front. And while he talked a good game with our pal Charlie, when he had him on about how it's unfair to have men in women's sports, he later just said, oh, it's just such a complicated issue, so confusing, and threw up his hands. He's not going to help Tish. He's not going to help girls dealing with boys in his sport. And it's really going to come down to President Trump and just how intrusive he can be on these states that insist on fostering this harassment.
Right, and it should be. I mean, this is a place for federal law. There could be laws passed on the federal level because this is not a states' rights thing. This is a human rights thing. This is a human right. This is an infringement on your rights as a human being, as a woman. You know, to just like a basic level of privacy and safety and security when you're in your most vulnerable state in the locker room. Yeah, you do have a right to that, and that is being infringed upon. And so it is a federal issue. And I will say that Tish, she asked that question. She says, how could anyone think that this is right? And the answer to the question is that no one thinks it's right. I mean, no human, or almost none. But aside from the actual trans activists themselves, and even some of them, I don't even think it's right. But everybody else, like no one else thinks it's right. Gavin Newsom does not think that that's right. There's no way that Gavin Newsom could look at that situation and come to the conclusion that the woman who is objecting to the man in the locker room is in the wrong. He doesn't actually think that. He knows that that's totally crazy. And that is why Democrats have, especially over the last couple of years, for the most part, have run as far as they can, as fast as they can from this issue. I mean, Kamala Harris went through her entire abbreviated campaign and barely ever talked about it. She only talked about the trans issue when she was absolutely forced to, and then she jumped off of it as fast as she could. It wasn't like that 5 years ago. Now, 5 years ago, Democrat politicians, you couldn't stop them from running out in front of any camera they could find and talking about trans rights and trans women are women and all this kind of stuff. Because for a very brief moment in time, it seemed like that. It seemed like that was the popular position, although it never was. But now, the culture is just entirely against them, and they know it. Mm-hmm. And so they're just.
And then came the wonderful "What is a Woman" by Matt Walsh in the Daily Wire, which really was a game changer. It just completely changed the conversation by calling out the insanity and questioning the proponents of it in a very fair, matter-of-fact way. They were humiliated, but there are still hangers-on. Did you know gold is up around 40% this year? That's not speculation, it's reality. And if a portion of your savings is not diversified into gold, you're missing the boat. Here are the facts. The US dollar, still too weak. The government debt, still growing. This is why central banks are flocking to gold. They're the ones driving prices up to record highs. But it's not too late to buy gold from Birch Gold Group and get in the door right now. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. You don't pay a dime out of pocket. Just text MK to 989898 and claim your free info kit. There's no obligation, just useful information. The best indicator of the future is the past, and gold has historically been a safe haven. So text MK to 989898 right now to claim your free info kit on gold. MK to the number 989898. Protect your future today with Birch Gold. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.